I've been thinking for a while about making a video on the KLR 650, and over the last few weeks, all the rumors about it being discontinued in 2019, and it sounds like it's confirmed now, I thought this was a good time. I saw Prius the other day that had a sticker on it that said, "Cool Prius," and then under it, where it should have the name of the person who said it, it said nobody. When I start thinking about this, I start thinking about the KLR. The KLR is a group of people like Prius owners that the only people that are really passionate about it are people who've owned one, people who do own one, or people who may own one in the future. The fans of these bikes are a cult that I sometimes wonder if they're operating in a parallel universe. They ride around thinking they're looking like this, when in reality they're probably riding a red KLR that's been faded to pink with a milk crate on the back, riding down the road whistling like a Volkswagen from the 50s. Today, my thoughts on the demise of the KLR 650, a bike that I own for over a decade and have a lot of thoughts and feelings about. The KLR is legendary, but that doesn't necessarily make it relevant anymore. Everything about the KLR is old. The suspension is old, the bike is heavy, it's got ugly plastics, the fit and finish is sort of and it still leaves the factory with the carburetor. The fit and finish on this bike is so old and bad that when the OEM hardware falls off, which it will, I find that duct tape and zip ties are really a better replacement. When I went to purchase this bike in 2004, that's 14 years ago, I was already questioning the age of the design. Keep in mind, 14 years ago, that bike was already in its 17th year of production. To put this into perspective, the KLR has had one major update since it was put into production in 1987. In that same time, the Honda Accord is on its 7th revision during that time period. While the engine is the same in the KLR essentially from 1987 to now, the engine in the Honda is a smaller displacement which produces 2.5 times the horsepower. Of course, in 1987, the Honda Accord didn't have things like adaptive cruise control or assisted braking. In fact, it didn't even have ABS or airbags. In fact, that same year was the first year that a CD audio player was put into a production car, which was a Lincoln. Now, I know you can't compare the auto market to the motorcycle market just in sheer volume, but I think it is important to see how long this period of time is and how much has changed in the auto market versus the motorcycle. And to me, it's amazing that this motorcycle still sold after so few changes over the years. And now that I've talked so much smack about the KLR and how old it is, how heavy it is, and how irrelevant it is, I really need to share some of the things that I enjoy about this bike. I have a soft spot in my heart for two motorcycles. The first one is the early 70s CB 750s. That was the first motorcycle that I had. I rode that thing around all over town, and anywhere I went, somebody came up to me and started talking to me about the 750 and how that motorcycle changed things in America. And it really, really got me into the emotion of the vintage Japanese motorcycles. The second bike that I feel passionately about when I see is the KLR. Now, I don't look at it with the same beauty as early 70s Hondas, which I think are beautiful motorcycles, but I look at the KLR for exactly what it is, a just do-it-all Swiss Army of motorcycles. I purchased my KLR in 2004, fresh off the showroom floor for $5,000 cash. In over 12 years, I rode that all around Washington, Oregon, British Columbia, Alaska, up to the Arctic Circle, and just loved the heck out of that bike. Over those 12 years, I realized this bike wasn't great at everything, but it could do anything. You could ride it on the fire roads, do some mild single track. You could do 70 all day down the freeway, park it in the street. It got knocked over, no big deal, just pick it up. I mean, it really was a bike that you could just jump on and go. The fact that the KLR has been on the market for so long really speaks to how good this bike was when it came out. Look at some of the other bikes from the same era that are similar. I mean, you have the Suzuki DRZ, you have the XR 650L. I mean, there were several bikes released around that same time that have just become iconic. And while I think it's time to close the casket on this dated motorcycle, I really hope the KLR goes down as an iconic ride in motorcycle history. I mean, this is really the bike of the common man. It's a bike that you can ride it anywhere, it's reliable, it's economical, and the fact that so many people bought it over this long period of time really shows how well it fit into people's riding styles during those times. And I can't think of another motorcycle that has been everything the KLR has been over such a long period of time. So I'm gonna miss it, but I can't wait to see what comes next. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to support the channel. And in the comments, let me know what you think is gonna be the bike that's gonna replace the KLR. I'm banking on a 650, 700cc modern Yamaha that's a beefed up WR with that can ride on the freeway comfortably and things like that. But that's what I'm hoping for. But what are you hoping for? Let me know below. Thanks.